Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on the way in. Hopefully, you guys can hear me and everything's good. All right. Shout out to Sarge Willy Pete, right? Um, yeah, I had to respond to this one. And so Sarge Willy Pete's simpulationships, simpulationships, the black matriarchy. So that is what we are responding to, right? And once again, shout out to Sarge Willy Pete. Tongue tied there a little bit. Okay, I want to start off by saying this, right? Sarge, it's simple, right? It's real simple. It's called patriarchy by feminist specifications. Say it with me now. You got to say the whole thing, right? Um, and for those of you, yeah, Mr. Z is kind of ripping off of the Boondocks, a pimp named Slickback, right? It's called patriarchy by feminist specifications. You got to say the whole thing, right? Um, yes, right. Okay, give me a second. Give me a second. And this is for compassionate. This is for compassionate, right? Give me 1 second. Compassion. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Right. Okay. All right. If I could get the link, that would be great. There we go. Okay. Over here freezing. Over here, my technical difficulties, and it's not actually me right now. It's a phone and YouTube. There we go. This is for compassionate. This is for compassionate, right? Um. So yeah, no. So Sarge spoke here about, and he used a couple of examples. He used I am Aloho. He used Ebony K. Williams. Sarge was just rattling them off. He was just rattling them off, right? Good and good stuff as usual. Um, to Sarge, I say, and Sarge really got animated when it came to speaking about Ebony K. Williams, right? And give me a second, and there we go. Speaking about Ebony, what's going on? I'm compassionate, right? And speaking about Ebony K. Williams, and speaking about brothers being too afraid to ask her about that South of France um trip that she was supposed to take that she turned down. I'm assuming it's from that ex boyfriend, fiance, air quotes fiance, um that she did not, say yes to because she had a trip to take in Miami and then go back to LA, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, fine. Um, and so Sarge was saying, hey, the next time one of you brothers interview her, you gotta bring this up. You gotta mention this and press her about answering this. And Sarge says, it's fear. And I say, yes, fear to a certain extent. But I also say it's also because a number of black men aren't primed that way. They're not raised that way. They're not socialized to press black women when they speak this kind of insanity. You don't see sisters, you don't see brothers pressing black women for we're the backbone of the black community, we're the reason why the earth rotates around the sun. We are queen mother goddess. We earn more than black men. We if it wasn't for us, there would be no progress in the black community. We are the moral center and the moral compass. All of this type of talk and this type of aura and this type of performance from black women. Black men are raised by black women, so of course they're not necessarily raised to you know and y'all give me 1 second. Okay, there we go. Right. Yeah. And so they're not necessarily raised to see this that way, right? And to think about these things that way. Black men are not raised that way. So some of it is fear. I will give Sarge Willy Pete that. I agree with him. But I would also say, Sarge, it's not just fear. It's the way you come about. And this is why you have women like Yanni that straight up say, what happened to the men, a few words, right? Thank you. Trail said it exactly. This is exactly what Mr. Z is getting to. Only sassy men question black women. This is where all of those homophobic slurs come in when it comes to black women insulting black men, straight black men with all type of homophobic slurs. That's them telling you to know your place, right? That's them telling you to know your place behind them, and not in the giggity way either, right? And Compassion, when you're ready, you can play it. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming up.
I'm sitting here looking at these
And you can put it on one
videos
two
that have
five
been
speed, please.
posted. Too many mothers, Hyksos and slavery in ancient Egypt, heat strokes. I was doing a video on heat strokes, the difference between somebody having a heat stroke and versus somebody having rhabdomyolysis, because some people are overexerting themselves in the heat, or working out too heavy. But I'm gonna get around to posting those. I just haven't gotten around. Shit just gets tied up. But this is kind of one of those ad hoc videos where um literally doing research, looking at more information, and some stuff comes up in my feed, like whenever I'm on the computer and I'm trying to look up stuff, research stuff, get all these numbers, using AI, using Google, just looking up stuff in my free time, and because I can't shut my brain off. So as I'm looking up stuff, I got people's videos coming in. Usually I'll have like some lo-fi hip hop playing on in the background or something like that. And in the recommended was Shay Shardae's video, and there was a brother that was talking to her, and he just, without like, everybody's pissing me off because nobody knows the numbers. They're just regurgitating shit that they heard in the 1990s. And when you know the numbers, it's highly irritating. So, he's up there and they're talking about black men being on the down low or something like that. And Shay Shardae appropriately responded by pointing out, like, black women are gay as fuck. Like, as a population, black women are far more gay than black men. And it's like, so I'm like, how the hell did we get the down low gay black men reputation when, again, just Google the shit. Go Google homosexuality, bisexuality, and all the other flavors of sexuality, you know, uh, based off of race or gender or both, and you'll see that black women far outstrip black men when it comes to, homosexuality and alternative lifestyles.
Pause right
But
there,
yet,
Compassionate. Pause right
black
there.
women project that shit onto us.
See, what I would say to Sarge here is you have to know. Donald Rumsfeld, even though it's funny when we make fun of him about that, but the known unknowns and the known knowns and the unknown unknowns, the black community writ large, and I would argue a lot Americans don't know what they don't even know. They don't know what they don't know. And black people, black men, don't know what they don't know. So they'll know that they have an aunt or two and a girl cousin or two that's on this, LGBTQ stuff, and they don't know any of their male cousins that's that way. They'll be living it, right? But if the dominant narrative in the black community is these DL black men, it really is the don't believe your lying eyes. So when you say Google it, Sarge, you're right. You're right. But the brothers don't even know to Google this as a pushback, as a retort, as a response, because the dominant narrative is that black men are secretly on the DL. And a lot of that comes from, right? What's her name with how Stella got her groove back, right? Ended up with that Jamaican brother who ended up being same sex loving, right? So that's why you have this, oh, black men are secretly on the DL. Instead of that sister taking the L and saying, you know what, I couldn't make it with black American men. I went to Jamaica. I found this young brother. I threw it on him. I didn't pay attention to how he was moving, or I could see it, but I was so enthralled with the sex and the fun time that I ignored what I saw, and then it blew up in my face. No pun intended. It blew up in my face when we got to America and when I made him my husband. Instead of her just owning that happened, she had to. And you watch this with black women, they had to bring up all black men as secretly, or a significant amount of black men as secretly gay, instead of just owning, first of all, black women are far more same-sex loving than black men. And secondly, this is what happened because you wouldn't get down with a black man on a black man's program. So you found a younger man who got down with your program, but then he was getting down another type of way also. Oops. Right? Right? So like that that's what it is. And what's the young lady's name again, or the lady's name again? That's how Stella got her groove back. Is, and I've said this lady's name a million times. Right now, it's slipping me. But you know, that's why I would argue you see this kind of ignorance to this, and even black men respond in this way about black men being secretly, same-sex loving, right? And I'll pause right there. Go ahead, compassionate.
Us. I was listening to the guy, and Shay Sade. I forget how she responded to him. She responded to him with something, but he was basically pretty much repeating the ABC special. There's only 3 black men for every 100 black women, which they took that video down. Somebody else wrote a comment about them scrubbing the internet. Yeah, you can't find that Martha Stewart ABC special clip on YouTube anymore. I've been looking for it, can't find it. I know I have it saved on a hard drive somewhere, but I've been looking for it, can't find it. I'm like,
Pause
ain't
right
this
there.
a bitch, right?
But I remember exactly what special he's talking. I remember it. I used to watch it once in a while, right? So, and as I say about that clip, there was a light skinned sister. She was really pretty, and she was the one who spoke about making googly eyes with a white dude at the bar. And dude just got up and left afterward. Terry McMillan, thank you, Trell. Terry McMillan is who how Stella got her groove back is based off of. Thank you, Trell. I always forget her name when I need it, and then sometimes I just could recite it, and sometimes I can't. I don't know why. You know why? Because I think Terry McMillan, and then I think Minnie Riperton for some reason. Don't ask. I don't know why. I don't know why, right? So once I try to say Terry McMillan, I think about Minnie Riperton, and then the song comes up, and then it's gone, right? So, but going back, yeah, I know exactly what clip that Sarge is referring to, and yes, it was a number of middle management black women for the most part. None of them were necessarily ugly. Some of them were standard issues. Some of them were cute, right? But they were standard black women complaining about, their lack of black men not being on their level. Now, the beauty of the internet, the beauty of social media, the beauty of high-speed internet and easily accessible information is that, yeah, black men earn more than black women. Black men employ more people than black women. Black men have better credit scores than black women, right? Black men start more businesses than black women. That's just a fact. So now the Overton window has moved, and now black women and even some LGBTQ brothers like Themis, now they're saying, okay, fine, black men don't earn enough more. Well, right? And that's why y'all see the other link in my description box where the lighter skin, I think her name is Kelsey, the lighter skinned black woman on Crew season straight up said, right? At least what she said, 2 times more than what I make. She said she's dating down, essentially, if you don't make something like 2 times more than what she makes. Huh? Because anything less is not enough more. Right? Remember, we're speaking about a single mother. A snarky, sassy single mother. Cute, light skin, whatever. But a single mother. The one that tells you, and it did, the Kelsey from the Crew season told you, if I earn more than you, I will belittle you. And there you go. You can unpause compassion.
Right, because they came through. That's the one where they had the woman talking about she's a payroll specialist, and Tariq Nasheed did a hilarious response to this shit.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just sitting there, he was just like, yeah, and if we subtract all the black men that are in jail, and we subtract all, which is only like 3 to 5% maximum. He was like, if we subtract all the black men that are in jail, he's like, if you have 100 black women, and then you take out all the black men that are in jail, all the black men that are on the down low, which is like 1 to 3%, right? If you take out all the black men that are just messed up in some way, and I'm like, he hasn't mentioned not one. So we got nothing but disqualifiers for black men, but we have no disqualifiers for black women. So all 100 of the black women, are wifey material or perfect, or just eligible bachelorettes, but you're just knocking off black men off of this table, just one by one, just making up shit. And this is a black dude, you know what I mean? A little sassy, but this is a black dude.
Pause right there, yeah, because black women don't have any character flaws. There's no epidemic level character flaws that black women have. Black women, as GC saying, and this is exactly where I'm going, GC, every black woman is marriageable. Every black woman is marriageable. There is black. It's not a weight issue. There's no hygiene issues. There's no attitude. Once you start speaking attitude in black women, now we're all in wannabe white patriarchal land. Now we're in sexist, misogynistic, misogynorous land, right? You can't say, "Oh gosh, she got an attitude problem." No, you're saying that because you're viewing her through your man lens, your sexist, wannabe patriarchal, wannabe patriarchy lens, right? So yes, every black woman is marriageable. The women aren't the issue. The men are the issue, right? So yeah, Sarge, and this is something that a lot of black men buy into, the Dr. Umars of the world, right? This is what they buy into. Black women are only misbehaving because there's something wrong with black men, right? There is black women would cease misbehaving tomorrow if all black men were kick ass. If all black men were kick ass, black women would cease misbehaving tomorrow. Huh? Because black women don't have any agency. That's what our society definitely in the black community, definitely the Dr. Umar types, the Shaqs and the Steve Harvey types. Black women have no agency. The only reason they do what they do is because black men are effed up, right? Say it again, Terrell. It's always Jermaine's fault, right? And go ahead, compassionate.
What was I about to say about the freaking just watching this bullshit? Oh, I remember. Like right off top, like I said, we got 61% of black women are mothers in the black community, and 54% of black men are childless. And I'm like, how about you knock single mothers off of that? For all the childless men that are looking for women, that don't have any children, or knock off the, women that are overweight or generally unattractive, or ghetto ratchet, whatever. I mean, just nothing disqualifies them. It's just irritating, watching this shit. There was another clip of a woman. It was like on YouTube Shorts, and the woman was talking, and she was saying about how she's so successful, and there's no men on her level that make the type of money that she makes, and then she kind of like slipped up, because then she said the men that do make the money that she makes, they're not interested in her, right? And this woman was, if I recall, on the lighter skin end of the spectrum. You know what I mean? So I'm like, bitch, shut the fuck up. Like, you're the quote unquote preference. Like, just listening to her talk her shit. I'm like, nah, you sound like a boss bitch that wants to fucking run shit. And then she goes into this, the men, they just don't make as much money as I make and whatnot. And maybe she's exceptional. I don't know how much money she makes. But it's silly when these women go up there and talk this shit, and then you go and you look at the median income for black women, it's like $36,000 a year, and you look at the median income for black men, it's like $41,000, and that's like 80% of the population, like 70 to 80% of the population. Though that's your number. You know what I mean? So you get these outlier black people, on the level. It's like when you know the numbers, when you look at these clips, these people look even more ridiculous. There's more black men making $100,000 than there are black women making $100,000, and that's just at the $100,000 level. You know what I mean? There's more black men that have success.
So shout out to Compassionate again, not only for the ones and twos, but for bringing up not Black Enterprise Institute, Black demographics a few weeks ago, and we saw it. What, right? So some 5 or so million black women earn less than $50,000 a year. What are these black women speaking about? Out of 7 or some odd million black women that work, something like 5 million earn less than $50,000 a year. Number one. Number two, we have to continue to emphasize this. Patriarchy by feminist specifications. Say it with me now. You need to say the whole thing, right? So it really is, and going off of what Sarge is saying, I don't know if I've seen the clip that he's referring to, but it is black women who earn a couple of dollars, who want the black men who earn as much or more than them, definitely more than them, to bow. Right? This is the queering of black relationships. The queering of black relationships means that role is ever sliding, dictated by black women. The individual black woman gets to wake up every day and decide, you know what? Today I want to be super feminine. I'll let him do everything today on the masculine end. Tomorrow, I want to be more butch and masculine. I'm running things today. The next day, we could kind of go 50-50, right? I'll cook, he'll wash the dishes. The next day, oh God, I want to play damsel in distress. The queering of black relationships. The problem that elite women have is that elite men are not playing that game. Black women with a few dollars to rub together struggle to get black men to play that game. They struggle to get any man to play that game. That is why so many of them are not with a white man or a Latino man or an Asian man, because nobody's signing up for that. Right? Oh, what did he say? And Trail says, Z, BGS called you out earlier. What did he say? I missed it. Right? Nobody's signing up for that. Right? And that's something I think that we have to continue to emphasize. No one's signing up for to be paymaster, right? With none of the power. And Sarge also says this in this stream, in this video. No one's signing up to be paymaster without the power and influence that comes with that. No man is signing up for that. So the queering of black relationships is going to fall flat, because you're going to struggle, dear black women and other women who want to sign up for this, you're going to struggle to meet the men of means. Any man stable or above, they're not signing up for that. No stable and above man is signing up for working 50 hours a week, 60 hours a week, like Z, 70 hours a week. Right? 70 hours a week or some odd, earning 70, 75, 80 plus 90, 100, $120,000 a year to be dictated to by a woman. And if you don't follow her lead, then that makes you sexist. No one's signing up for that. No man who has choices is signing up for that. I'm sorry, black women. Have fun trying to find non-black men to sign up for it. Right? So, and Trell said, he said you need to get your girl Chinny. I'll watch it. I'll watch that stream. I'll watch it. But yeah, homegirl is gone. She gone. She making way too much good money off of YouTube. And she out of there. And I'm not the one to be asking this to anyway. Shout out to Better You or to Kanye, not Kanye, or what are you brothers? Right? There's a couple of brothers that's in that Texas area, in that Houston area. Y'all go get one of y'all go save the black community from Yanny. Jesus Christ. Right. And we'll pause right there. Go ahead, compassionate. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat.
Actually generate money and have employees than black women that have businesses that are successful and generate money and have employees. 95% of black women's businesses don't have any employees. Yes, they are registering a lot of businesses, but they're not making any money. If you go and you pull up the stats and numbers on what the actual figures are on black women making money versus white women making money, it's like, what are y'all doing? But then y'all come through and y'all talk shit. Like, you talk shit about how awesome you are. And it's like, but statistically speaking, in all actuality, you're not awesome like that. And it's like when people talk about, like there's this, there's this, what's the word that I'm looking for? Movement to humble black women. I'm telling you right now, 100% black women need to be humbled. Right. I understand that black people run around and they like to big up themselves.
Pause right there, compassionate. Pause right there.
White supremacy.
Let me say this to what Sarge is saying. It's and I struggle to say this because I hate that society does this to black people. I hate that black people do this to black people also. And I hate seeing black women do this to each other. It's insulting. It's patronizing. It's we're not handicapped. We're handy capable. That's why black women are talking crap to black men and acting like they have it all together, like their money is on point collectively. like they're all kick-ass collectively. If you look at them just blowing smoke up each other's ass. In real life, if you ever been around watching them, I think Dr. T played a clip of a bunch of black women at a restaurant talking to each other, chilling, and the brother eating at his table by himself, chilling. And the women are looking at him like because they're blowing smoke up each other's ass. If y'all ever look at any of those talk shows or girl panels and they're blowing smoke up each other, they're all yes, queen. Mm-hmm, girl. Right? It's short bus stuff. That's what it is. We're not handicapped or handy capable. It's patronizing as hell. But the way you speak to black men in that case is as if black men are so much worse than black women. Black women are kicking ass and taking names, and black men are acting, and I've said this before, black men are acting as an anchor on black women's ankles. Right? Black men are acting as an ankle on black women's ankles. Just in the way. Just big dumb oafs in the way of black women's progress. Black women would have progressed so far if it wasn't for black men in their waywardness. Meanwhile, when you actually dig through the numbers, and this is what Sarge is getting to, the actual backbone of the black community is black men, and it's always been. It's always been. But you're sexist to say it. That's what black women are saying. You are sexist if you don't let us lie about what's actually going on in the black community. You're sexist, you're misogynist, you're misogynorous if you don't speak highly of black women when black women are denigrating black men. Let me say that again for the people that are going to pretend like they don't hear what Mr. Z is saying. You are a sexist, right? Misogynistic, misogynorous black man or black men if you do not back black women denigrating black men. Right? Which is in their right to do because, of course, you ain't a white man and you didn't make her a white woman. So go ahead, and Sarge is going to get to this later on in this video. Go ahead and let her get your manhood on discount, if not for free, because, well, you lost the race war. The collective of black men lost the race war. So the way you pay it forward for black women, and I got to say this now because I'm going to say it again, but I got to say this now. Sarge, I hear you, and you get it, Sarge. You older than me, you more professional than me, you're more traveled, etc., etc., etc. But I don't think you really appreciate the visceral feeling that black women have that they occupy the same country as white women. That visceral feeling that they occupy the same planet as white women. Black women are incensed. I don't think there's a word in the English language. They're fuming. They're livid. Especially over the past 5 or 6 decades, black women were supposed to level up into being white women. That's what the college degrees was for. That's what moving into the suburbs was for. That's what the luxury cars and the baby Benzes and the baby luxury cars, shout out to Indigo Flow, that's what it was for. That's what being in proximity to white folks is for. Even Soren said this back, I can't remember what year was that, 2014, 2015, right? Was that in Texas where the officer slammed the little girl, the little black girl in her bikini? They were coming from a pool party. The cops got called. They were in some type of maybe gated community in the burbs, and the officer barrel rolled. You see the white officer barrel rolling, and he slammed the little black girl. The two brothers tried to stop it, but he pointed his gun at them, or was it a taser? Right? And Soren even said it back then. Y'all, and she was speaking to black parents. Y'all take y'all kids y'all move them to these burbs, and y'all hope they end up with white children and white folks. Soren, and for those of you that don't know who Soren is, she's been on YouTube for a minute. She used to be on the Grapevine, etc., etc. But black woman, right? Even she said that. Even she could see But I would argue, Soren, yes, black people want to keep their children away from danger of black mothers, black fathers. So they send them, they move to the burbs and they put them into these schools and right. And like Soren was saying, low key hoping that their black children end up with white people, their black daughters end up with white men, right? So continuing,
He
this.
likes to say,
Oh yeah, okay, go ahead. Come back.
black people ain't shit. And then black people try to counter that and say, and have like positive, affirmation. But black women are in the realm of absolute delusion at this point. It's just straight delusional. I'm like, that's not true. That's not accurate. The complaints that are being filed, like I went back and I went but what I was doing was I was looking at that CDC, that 2015 to 2019, seeing if there was any more information like that I maybe overlooked, you know what I mean, or anything else that I could extract from that. And I was looking at the what was I looking at? I was looking at the teen pregnancies, right? And so again, like I said before, that whole report was not about throwing black women under the bus. The whole 61% of black women are mothers and 54% of black men are childless. That was an incidental finding, that was thrown up there by Kevin Samuels. But that report really is about, like it leans towards and caters to the idea that, demographically, black women and Hispanic women are doing the worst, and they have all these pregnancies when they're really young and unwanted pregnancies, and that the way that you counter that is to educate the girls, right? They need to be more educated. And so this is where you get into, despite everybody complaining about black boys are terrorizing the community and they're in gangs and they're committing crime and they're shooting each other in Chicago, there's never any discussion about increasing or elevating the number of black males, into higher education, right? Because whether black male or black female, if you're in higher education, right, and we can have another discussion about student loan debt and all that, and viable careers and everything. But if you're basically, if you have goals, and college is a goal, you're less likely to go out here and get somebody pregnant. It's the people that are at the bottom, people who are a part of multi-partner family formation, meaning they got, they don't have any real traditional patriarchal two-parent household stability. You know what I mean? They got half siblings, and dad is a Rolling Stone, and mom, she got half, like you got half siblings on your dad's side, half siblings on your mom's. It's just messy, and the kids end up falling
Pause
through
right
the
there.
cracks. And when
So something that Sarge Willy Pete said here about always doing for the girl. Essentially, I'm paraphrasing. Always doing for the girls and the women, and nobody's talking about doing for the boys and the men and putting them in position. And BGS speaks about this often because the money is supposed to flow through the women. Dear black men, you're the threat. The money is supposed to flow through the women. Let's be very clear. The black community, when it was a matriarchy, is by design. It's by design. And the gynocracy is the ugly, bizarro outgrowth of that matriarchy for decades. Right? It's the spawn of the matriarchy. But it's by design. Right? So black men that are doing well, and we already understand this, in spite of, right? In spite of. So the money is supposed to flow through the women because the black community is supposed to be inverted, and black men are supposed to follow behind. Tiffany Cross had it right. That's why we got so annoyed with it, because she had it right. Black men get in line with behind black women. You trying to tell me a black woman that's moving and shaking like she is and working for MSNBC? No, she had it right. She mocked you. She mocked the dudes that you listen to, Kevin Samuels and Tariq Nasheed. And she said, get in line with behind black women. She had it right. Same thing with Simone Sanders when she was speaking about Uncle Luke, who asked black men for their unsolicited opinions. She had it right too. They understand Simone Sanders, right? Working for the Democratic Party. These women, they slip up and they tell you exactly what it is. Huh? They slip up, sometimes not really on, well, excuse me, sometimes not really by mistake, right? And tell you what it really is. Who asks black men for their unsolicited opinion? So to Sarge, I said the money is supposed to flow through the women, right? And so that's something I think black women are going to have to reconcile with. And Sarge is going to bring this up in a little bit also. I don't know if I'm going to wait that long, but Sarge is going to bring this up later on in the stream, which is how many young men are marrying out the newlywed, families, and about 24% of black men that are getting married are marrying out. Yeah. As I've said before, black men, we already know the black community, and young black men, I don't know if they can articulate this, right? We already know the black community is led by its women. Okay, fine. You can't tell your mom, your aunt, your grandma that they traumatized the hell out of you. So you just pop up with the Latina on Christmas break. You just pop up with the Latina when you go to Thanksgiving dinner. You just pop up with the white girl. You just pop up with the Asian young lady, South or East Asian, probably East Asian. Huh? And you allow for your female siblings and your girl cousins to come up with all type of speculations about how you don't love yourself, how you don't like black women, and whatever it is. Or he always thought he was better than black girls. I remember back in high school and da 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 da. You let them talk whatever they want to talk because you can't tell them y'all traumatized the hell out of me, and I would never want to bring home one of you. Huh? So you let them talk how they want to talk. Right? And we'll pause right there. Go ahead, Compassion.
When those kids fall through the cracks, they end up, having, premarital sex at an early age because, it feels good. And then, the girl gets pregnant. The 17-year-old girl gets pregnant by her, freaking 21-year-old boyfriend. Right? This is what is going down. And what ends up happening, that further contributes to multi-partner family formation because people who have kids at an early age, right? There's no real stability when they're getting together. They get, I like Jamal. Oh, I like Keisha. They get together, they fuck, they have a kid. And then because there's no real stability there, right? The fighting starts, you ain't doing this, you ain't doing that. And then they go their separate way, right? She gets custody of the kid. He immediately has to go into the workforce. Now he's paying child support. They still fighting. She goes off and fucks with another nigga that probably got a kid by somebody else. Right. And this is where the majority of the kids in the black community are coming from. The majority of the kids in the black community are not coming from the educated black folks. They're statistically, number wise, they're having the least amount of kids, and they wait much later, like in their late 20s, early 30s, before they end up having kids. Some even go beyond that, 35 up.
Black Uru made this argument
families.
before.
They're like, I got to get my ducks in a row, got to get my stability. That takes time, at least a decade. So those people, are the outliers in the black community, and the other thing that I peeped was that like 30% of what was it? 30% of black men are married when they have their first child, which is right there with the number of black men overall that are married, which is anywhere between 33% to 36%, depending on what stat you look at. But when it comes to black women, only 18% of black women are married when they have their first child. So I'm like, wait a minute, why don't black women, like the number of black women that are married is 29%. Why does it say 18%? I'm like, oh, because we have a discrepancy. So in other words, there's a lot of black men that when the black woman, she already had her first child, she been had it because she got with, Tyrone. But the brother, there's a lot of brothers out here that they're having their first child after they get married. So in other words, they marry first and then have their first child with Keisha, who already got a kid by another nigga. That's where that discrepancy, is coming from, where 30% of black men have their first child within marriage. And 30% of black men are married, 33% of black men are married, 33, 36%. But with black women, 18% of black women are married when they have their first child, right there, and 29%.
And this is why the black community completely and utterly resents the black manosphere. This is why they have a major issue. Kevin's been dead for over 2 years, and they have a major issue with, because what Sarge is speaking on right now, It's your job, black men, to pick up the pieces because you're one big Negro, and whatever black man knocked her up, it's your job to fix it because black men are one big Negro, right? One big Negro. Mr. Z is not even not necessarily against a brother who meet a woman and she might have a child and y'all still make something work and she negotiate and she actually make up for it, whatever, however y'all negotiate for her to make up for it in that relationship. But they have an issue with the brothers who will not do that under any circumstance. Absolutely not. Huh? Because we're one big Negro, and Negro's not even the word I want to use. We're one big Negro. And so for you brothers that have it together, right, you're supposed to make up for the ones that don't. The one that she got knocked up by and it didn't work and it was a situationship. Maybe it was a relationship, but it just didn't work. You, Mr. Stable, Mr. Doing Well, you're supposed to make up for it because you're one big Negro. Right? Wow. So yeah, this and that's where the discrepancy comes in. Absolutely. Right? 18%. Right? Horrendous numbers. Go ahead, Compassionate.
Of black women are married. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, so there's a lot of brothers that are playing and been playing that stepdaddy role. Because seriously speaking, if you're trying to keep it black in the black community, if you're a childless black man and you're trying to keep it black, it is more likely. You still got that 39% of black women, to choose from, right? Which again, even when you look at the raw numbers, 10.8 million versus 8.5 million. There's more childless black men in the black community than childless black women. But when you when in terms of likelihood, a black man is much more likely to go out here and run into a single mom than a black woman is to go out here and run into, a single dad. We're not talking about custody. We're just talking about being a parent. The other thing, going back to the data and, the whole focus on education, this is what I don't get, right? And this is like a sister that left a comment like a couple of weeks ago. And she was like, and black men are just so terrible and they're this and they're that and they're all fucked up. Okay, fine. Fuck it. Let's go with that. Why are you all having niggas babies? Why? If black men are so terrible, if they're everything that you say that they are, why are you having their fucking babies? See, what it comes down to is y'all just can't control your reproduction. This is why, say everybody wants to focus on, the problem in the black community is the lack of patriarchy and the black community is broken and black men, they're just not out here doing, the right thing. But we cannot get black women to control their reproduction. All this is my body, my choice, and that we cannot get black women to control their reproduction. And when it comes to it's like goes back to the Kevin Samuels when he had that older black woman up there and the younger black woman, and an older black woman just would not acknowledge her failures. Hey, I fucked up. I shouldn't have done this. I got 2 kids by 2 different men or whatever. And young ladies, y'all don't need to be doing this. Like the shit that Six the Goddess says. Like they just refuse. Like, it's like black women are not going to do anything that makes them look bad. They're not going to do anything that's going to cause them to have an inability to save face. It's got to be a black.
And so Sarge is speaking about it right now. Yes, it's about saving face, but it's the power dynamic. I continue to speak about this over and over again. The power dynamic of admitting I messed up, I was wrong, I thought wrong, I felt wrong, and I am now prepared to go the right direction. The problem is, first, you're putting power in that other party's hands. That's number one. Number two, how then can they shame you as an individual black man or you as a group of black men if they admit, okay, we messed up, we miscalculated, or we thought it was this way and it's actually another way, or I really did what I did out of spite, but life has put its foot in my ass. So I'm looking for someone who will forgive me and we'll work it out. But once again, all of that is power based. All of that is about power. And so, as we said before, Black women will go down with the ship. There is a number of black women that will just, their pride, their ego just can't let them admit how wrong they are about the way they thought coming out of the 1960s. They just were completely wrong. They thought white women would throw white men under the bus for them. It didn't happen. They thought they could level up into white womanhood. It didn't happen. They thought they can leave black men behind. It didn't happen. They thought white men would pick them up if they moved into white suburbs and sent their kids to white schools and got into proximity of white folks. It didn't happen, not by and large. Right? They thought enough rich and well-to-do black men would marry them even with the snarky, sassy, condescending, mean, rude attitude. It didn't happen. Right? So it's just, all that is another reason why black women are seething. They're livid. They're livid because all the little escape hatches out of being black, period, have failed. It's failed. And there's no better example up to them that it's failed than when they see their celebrity black women end up like Taraji. When the lesser known celebrity black women like Ebony K. Williams is out here single mother by choice by in vitro. Huh? Single mother by choice by in vitro. It's failed. Oprah. No children. Huh? Talking about Terry McMillan. Failed. You gave black men in America, you gave ADOS FBA men in America the middle finger. You went to Jamaica and went to go find the most blatant, goddamn, limp-wristed dude humanly possible and thought that was going to work. It blew up in your face. No pun intended. It blew up in your face spectacularly. It failed. These public displays of fail. Maya marrying herself. Tracy Ellis Ross, of all people. No children, never been married. Tracy Ellis Ross. Diana Ross's daughter. Huh? Chili. TLC's Chili. Out here subsidizing the white dude. Huh? It's failed spectacularly. That's why they're seething. Right? As Compassion said, a bloody catalog of false premises. Right? You've watched it. Boomers, especially younger boomers, BGS, Black Uru age, older Xers, Art New Style age, right? Artisan MC, right? AL Evans. You get under 50 for the Xers. Trail, the Roger Report, right? Angry Man. Well, that's over 50, right? Definitely Obsidian. They've watched this. For those of us millennials, we watched it too. We were kids. Vivica A. Fox. Barbie doll dipped in chocolate in the late 90s, early 2000s. What that mean? Look at her now. Huh? And Compassionate says 81 viewers, 31 likes. We cut into the Yanny commercial if you keep playing. Right? Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Going to what Compassion is saying. Right? Red Supreme. Right? It's this is insane. So yeah, Sarge, it's the power dynamic, brother. I'm only reiterating. Sarge already noticed. I'm just stating the obvious here. I'm not telling him anything he doesn't already know. Right? And let me actually read this. And thank you for the super chat, Oppo. And Oppo says, "What's up, Z? Finally made it back to my home city, Miami. So now you got an extra Florida man for emotional support. I might need you for actual support because when I reviewed that video of them sisters from down here, it ain't nothing for one of them to know somebody that knows Z's voice. You'd be like, I know that dude, right? I went to school with. I know. I could get in contact with him. I know that dude, right? As a matter of fact, I know his close friend. Let me. You know what? There he go. Right. Right. So yeah, I'm gonna need the support for real. Right. And once again, Oppo, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. You can unpause. Compassionate.
Black man's fault. It goes back to what Love Dorsey said. You know, chicks, they don't like fucking with a Russell Wilson because Russell Wilson ain't about to do no fuck shit. But you go out there and you get with, Tyronius Maximus, you get with Tyrone, you get with the D-boy, you know what I mean? Then anything that happens, if the relationship falls apart, the black woman can hide all of her inadequacies behind this nigga in the streets. And they like that. It's a form of protection. Right. So nobody examines them and what the fuck they're on. Everybody just focuses on this no good black man that's in the streets, that's breaking her and everybody else off, breaking his mom off, breaking cousins off, breaking people off and shit. But he's the big piece of shit, not her and what she's on. She can hide behind his supposed dysfunction because what he does for a living isn't wholesome. Or he got locked up and he was gone for 6 months and, shit kind of fell apart because the resources weren't there. It's the nigga's fault. It's his fault. But you cannot examine what's going on with these women. Like Dr. T. Hassan Johnson always says, like, we don't even have the framework for a lot of this shit. We don't even have the phrase. Just like when he talks about, sexual assault of young men and boys and whatnot. Like, we don't even have the framework of women being, perpetuating that. You know what I mean? Like you see all this shit with the white teachers and them having sex with 14-year-old boys, 27-year-old teachers and whatnot. And even the white community doesn't even know how to frame that shit.
Pause right there, compassionate.
Like it's fucked up. But
I would argue this, Sarge, something I think you already know. It's because the way white masculinity works, it needs damsel in distress white women. So it doesn't matter what a white woman does or what white women do. She's damn near a child, right? That's why they're able to that's why they're able to literally sleep with a black man and then call grape afterward, right? That's why they're able to call sexual assault afterward, because she's like a kid to them. But that white masculinity needs white femininity to be that. You can't hold white women accountable because that will be acknowledging their agency and their autonomy, and that the fact that they're not under you. They're free thinking, moving, autonomous beings, right? So I would argue that's why it's difficult. And so black women and Latina women and Asian women get to scoop up under that when they want. They get to play hopscotch, particularly black women, obviously. They get to play hopscotch with that. This is when they get to play white women, right? They get to play like they're white women with this thing. And this is another reason why certain black women are so incensed that they can't be white women, because they really want that umbrella of damsel in distress. I messed up. I did the wrong thing, but could somebody save me anyway? Don't hold me accountable anyway. Right? Rhoda, anyone? Brickface Rhoda got caught red-handed lying on black men. Red-handed. And the anger was directed towards the same black men who said, wait, she lied on us. She lied about the story. She lied about how it went down. And this is how you make hypocrites, particularly of the left. In this case, the black left. She trafficked on evil black man who can't take a no for an answer, and other black men who watched her get harassed and assaulted and did nothing. She trafficked on that. right? Alexa, play Tupac. It's all about you, please. I seen it in the Snoop video. Then I saw her in the Million Man March. Right? So you know that's why I would argue it's difficult to hold women accountable. It's white men in the way, particularly elite white men, middle class, upper middle class, rich and elite. But really, once you get that solid middle class and above, they need to infantilize white women for their own masculinity and manhood. And black men get caught up in that because black women also want to be able to mess up, right? And be able to be like, well, I didn't know. The ignorant. What did the judge say? Ignorance of the law is no excuse. They want to play ignorant. Oh, I didn't know. Oops, my bad. Oops. Right. So you're not even going to give me a slap on the wrist, right? Okay, good. Okay. This is my point. And Vince's manipulation of justice itself, right? And that's something that black men are going to have to take up with white men. White men are the ones who's keeping this crap going because white men are going to have to really regulate white women first so that other women could not be able to traffic in that. The simp ass white dudes are going to have to fix that first. And until they fix it, other women are going to be able to traffic in that. Look, I shouldn't be held responsible for what I did or how I acted or what I said. I only did it because you're messing up. Right? And also white masculinity needs that so they can step on other men of color. They need a weak, docile, perpetual victim, white women, so that they can use that as justification, excuses to step on other men. Right? Jonathan Majors, anyone? Well, okay, I see you're running from her. But when you were putting her back into the Uber, you didn't take care enough. So destroy your career time it is. Huh? You think that man was pretending when he was crying on stage? No, that was real tears. Huh? Those were real tears. Your career in flames because a white woman. And if you don't think that there are black women that are jealous of that, you got another thing coming. No pun intended on that one. That's the white womanhood that they wish they could live. I got angry. I chased this Negro. Negro is not the word I want to use. For blocks. And I still get to destroy his career, even though there's camera footage of me chasing him. Until y'all regulate white dudes in their simp ass ways, black women get to act up because white women get to act up. The Dave Ramseys of the world, right? The Tucker Carlsons of the world, all that yapping JD Vance is doing, the JD Vances of the world, cat ladies, man, if you don't, huh? If you're a Christian white male, then you with the BS too, bro. Until you get those dudes to stop simping, black women get to do this. And I'll pause right there. Go ahead, Compassion.
Anyway, getting back to first question, why are y'all having these men's babies? And the second thing is, right, it's like there's a sleight of hand that I've been peeping going on for a while when we have these conversations, because when black women enter the conversation, their entire goal is to absolve black women of all guilt, absolve black women of all wrongdoing. And here's the sleight of hand, right?
My point.
So like this CDC report will say, we have a lot of black teen pregnancies. 42% of black women are having babies underneath the age of 20, right? And so we need to get the girls more educated, right? And I'm saying, looking at the numbers statistically, if black women are more educated, they're less likely to be end up being a young single mother. They're just less likely. They're going to focus on their career. They're going to mature as they do that. And then they're going to be looking for, a guy that's in that lane, right? At least we would think, because it's about to get more complicated. And so it's like, so what is the goal? Here's where the sleight of hand comes in. So the first part is we got to focus on the girls, get the girls more educated, and put all the school programs towards focusing on the girls to get them to that next level. Okay, you've done that. Mission accomplished. Now the girls graduated college, everything else like that. Then what is the immediate next problem that comes up? There's no black men that are on her level. Where are the black men that are educated in college that are on her level? Right? That's the next conversation, which goes back to the whole topic of resources being allocated towards boys, because there's
Pause
this
right
whole
there, the issue here isn't the resources. Black men still earn more than black women, regardless of their college degrees. And now it's a status game. So what the college degree symbolizes is arriving. It's a status game now. Shout out to Bowser. She said it straight out. Right? I can't see myself with a blue collar man, because my aunt and I had girlfriends and girl cousins, and they were blue collar men, and those blue collar men don't value education and that. For those of you that ever see Mr. Z go in on this, that's the why. I know I haven't really gone into detail on why I go in on her with that. That's why. Now, Ivy League educated, so we kind of expect her to think like this anyway, right? She's not saying anything that we wouldn't suspect, but there's a very visceral feeling because, once again, Ivy League educated, white collar, right? But this speaks to something. It's a status thing now. I attended college, I attended university, I graduated with my degree. Okay, fine. And now I'm looking for a particular type of man, a particular type of lifestyle, right? As I said before, this is the difference between the F-150 and the 5 Series Beamer, the E-Class Benz, right? The Tesla Model 3, right? Which quality is trash, but y'all don't want to say it because it's a Tesla, right? This is the difference. Now it becomes a class game, symbolizing access and wealth, or at least some status. Maybe not wealth per se, but some status. So even though black men still earn more than black women, and even though she's not counting that $40,000 student loan debt, that $25,000, $30,000 student loan debt that she's going to be paying off for another 15 years, 20. God forbid she get an advanced degree, tack on another 50 on that. She went to law school. Oh, now we had a 150. Now we had 200. Now we had 250. Goddamn. Excuse me. Huh? Yep. Trell says a Ford Raptor. Look, these women don't know nothing about that, right? They don't know about $70,000 trucks, $80,000 trucks, and why would you get an $80,000 truck anyway? Now we're in Tesla Model S territory, Tesla Model X territory. Why wouldn't you get the Tesla Model X? Why wouldn't you try to get the BMW X5? Huh? At least the Benz GLC. You could get a really nice GLC AMG instead of a Raptor. Huh? When I pull up to the function, I don't want to be hopping out of a goddamn truck. Trell. How will my coworkers look at me if I'm jumping out of a goddamn Ford truck? It's not even a Lincoln Navigator, Trell. What are they supposed to think of me when I'm jumping out of the passenger side of a goddamn Ford? And you can go ahead and unpause compassionate.
I'm so sick of the black community doing this, where and black women, y'all are at the tip of the spear when it comes to this. every time we like, it's like black men are worse off than black girls, right? And by every standard of measure, this is what will be said. Then when we get to black girls, it's like black girls are somehow simultaneously doing better and worse than black males because of the patriarchy, even though there is no patriarchy in the black community, right? So you say, hey, we got to focus on the boys because the boys are failing. And then the feminists will come through and they'll start screaming literally like it's 1970. Like literally, I'm like, you're bragging about, like, you have more black women that are getting, I think, masters and terminal degrees now, right? I'm like, okay, mission accomplished. And yet they will sit there and they will literally act like it's 1970 and women can't go to a bank and open up a checking account. It's like how white people try to do the whole, like, oh, what, there's Christian persecution. I'm like, what? While you're in the burbs? While you disproportionately have all the wealth, there's Christian. Are you fucking kidding me? And the same thing goes for black. The same thing goes for black women. They act like there's black female persecution at the same time that they want to tell you about how they're going to the moon and back, doing laps around the rings of Saturn, right? Going out there by the freaking damn Kuiper Belt. And black men, they haven't even been able to get their rocket all out of that Earth's atmosphere, right? But then when you say, okay, we need to focus on how dare you? Title IV.
Pause right there. It is oppression if you think about it the way they feel about it. Yes, y'all heard right. If you men think about it the way they feel about it, it is oppression. It's oppression, first of all, because they're attached to you by the hip. No matter what they've done, they're still attached to you by the hip. It is oppression because not enough non-black men will marry black women and hold them up as the beauty standard, particularly white men. It is oppression because you want to adhere to their rules. It is oppression. It is sexism. If you think about it the way they feel about it, it is oppression. It's not fair that she can't, in her mind at least, she can't go get a terminal degree, get an advanced degree, earn $80,000+ a year, be on her job for 3 years, climb up the corporate ladder from 80 to 150, right? And then be like, you know what? Okay, now that I've gotten to the corner office, right? Now that I'm manager, right? Now that I lead floor 7, team 7, whatever. Okay, I've reached my highest heights. Okay, now it's about that time to, oh, look, and there he goes. He just popped up. Great. Before she could even finish the thought, like, okay, I think it's about that time that I settled down. Before she could even finish the thought, Chisel Chin Tyrone, looking like the brother on the thumbnail on the screen right now, Chisel Chin Tyrone just comes walking through the door. Future husband, there you go. So it is oppression that the movie that they have playing on in their heads of jealous white women looking at them like, oh, that's his wife? Whether it's a white man or a black man, it doesn't matter. Lizzo is supposed to end up with what's the brother's name from Power? Right? I see Toya did the difference between Hardrick and Hardwick. Well, however you say the brother's name. I'm sorry. Hardrick and whatever. But yeah, the one off of Power. Lizzo's supposed to end up with him. The white women are supposed to be looking at her like, oh, okay, I get, oh, okay. Right? Right? Stacey Abrams is supposed to end up with who do they find? With a who would I say? Who would I say? With Jonathan Majors. There you go. Right? Tyrone Chattington. You see what I'm saying? Huh. So it is oppression if you think about it the way they feel about it. It is oppression. It's not fair. And that's all we've been seeing on these social media streets for about a decade and a half is black women. They're not saying it overtly, right? They're not saying it overtly. But all they've been doing for about a decade and a half on social media, on these YouTube streets, on these Twitter streets, on Instagram, right? On TikTok, is throw a goddamn temper tantrum that it's not fair. I don't get the movie that's playing on in my head is not, I'm not actually living it. A couple, I reviewed this lady the other, um, not too long ago. The Financial Diet spoke to her. It's a heavier set sister, black woman, and she married an upper middle class white dude who had the upper middle class white living, right? Upper middle class white upbringing, and he married this sister, and that's supposed to be her last name was Ford, and I can't remember what her first name was. I want to say her last name was Ford, right? Her dad had been in prison as she was growing up. She struggled through life financially. Her mother struggled. Her mother had multiple children, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if it was from multiple men, but either way. And she ended up with the upper middle class white dude, right? She is the I can't remember what her name is, right? But she is the archetype. She is who black women are supposed to be. So it is oppression that more white men that grew up like that white dude didn't end up with a black woman like her. It is oppression that black women are stuck in the black community with black men. It's not fair, right? And so let me read this now. And KMS says, LOL, damn, black women in aggregate get access to the men that they deserve if they deserve access to any man. A Golden Girls future. And not compassion, I'm sorry. But Sarge is going to say it later on. How and he might actually say it out. But pretty much, how do y'all expect, and this is women, black women in particular, to continue to denigrate and insult black men, but still end up with a kick-ass black man? Yeah, they expect to end up with a black man that defecates on other black men, a Derek Jackson, a foreign man in a foreign land. They expect that. Yes, that is how you show that you're a real man. You don't say nothing to women, or you don't say anything. You don't say anything about black women's bad behavior, and you don't say anything to women. All you do is wave your finger at black men. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Right? All you do is call black men nigcells. That's how you show you're an ally to black women, by quote unquote regulating black men, disciplining black men, air quotes, disciplining black men. Right? Huh. And once again, thank you for the super chat, KMS. Thank you for the super chat. But yeah, that's the access to men. We see it now. Now they're talking about being single by choice, single mothers by choice. Instead of coming up the middle, say, hey, the men I find attractive ain't really checking for me like that. Right? The men I find appealing and I find attractive, they're not really checking for me like that. Instead of black women coming up the middle and saying it straight out, and women in general just saying it straight out, now they're doing the whole single by choice, single mother by choice. I've said it before, a woman could end up with any man. Homeless women, dirty homeless women could end up with a man. Is it the man you want? And instead of women saying the man I want, and you see a couple of them admit it. Oh, Steph Cole admitted it. It was a black woman I covered a couple years ago that admitted that. They'll admit it. There's a couple of black women that will just straight out say it. But black women's collective pride and ego and women's collective pride and ego just won't let them admit it. The men I want just are not checking for me like that. And so instead of me ending up with someone who I still appreciate, I still like, and I still will grow to love, and that loves me and treats me well, instead of me ending up with that guy, I would rather be single. Instead of him just coming up the middle and just saying it. right? So we'll pause right there and go ahead, Compassionate.
Equal across the board. Like they start making that type of argument. But then when we get to the black women, ain't nobody on my level. I'm like, well, why would there be anybody on your level since you don't want to focus on the boys, right? It's like that joke when people talk about like you go to the doctor and you got a broken arm and the doctor's like, let me check your head. It's like, hey doc, it's my arm. My arm is broken. The bone is sticking, out of my forearm. Like, doc, look at my arm, right? And then the doc's like, oh, let me check your feet. Doc, it's my arm. You know what I mean? And literally, that's what it's like dealing with the situation in the black community. Hey, if everybody wants to say the boys ain't shit, can we focus and allocate resources on the boys? Can't do that. Can't do that. Aside from even the more complicated issue, the fact that training boys, when you want to talk about hypergamy and you want to talk about all the other fields and trades and everything, boys cost substantially more to train than girls. It's not a matter of sexism. If I'm going to have a shop, I got to get the car, I got to get the tools, right? I got to dispose of oil and lubricants and all of the type of shit, right? I got to have spare parts, right? We're not just talking about going off and getting girls a laptop so that they can learn how to write code or something like that, right? Like if I'm teaching electrical engineering and I got Captain Solo teaching the boys electrical, and again, tools. Everybody has to have a what do you call that? An ohms meter, right? They got to have your testers and all this other. They got to have a whole bunch of stuff, right? Like a whole bunch of shit that you would get from like Harbor Freight. They got to have all that stuff, right? They got to go out into the field, right? You got to transport them, right? So you got to have a bus or a van. You're burning up gas. All this shit that is necessary to train boys cost more than it is to train girls, because boys and girls typically don't do the same. They don't even go into the same type of fields. We shouldn't just have, everybody just go to college and we got no tradesmen in the black community. So it's going to cost more to train the boys. But again, we can't have these conversations, right? And then here's the stupid part, right? What is the point of like, so you start off with we got to educate the girls to prevent them from getting pregnant. Okay, fine. Then the girls get educated and then ain't nobody on my level. Okay. What is the point of training the boys to be on your level or above? Right? Mind you, right? Again, when we talk about, the men that are making, whether it's average pay or whether it's, the median pay is more than black women, and even at the higher levels, the pay is more than black women, right? But we're still having these conversations about how much more educated the black women are, blah, blah, blah. But I'm saying, why do boys need to be educated, right? If at the end of the day, black women are not going to follow, if their intent is to not follow, right? If anything, I already know what it is. I know what the answer is, because the answer is to have a group of black men that have enough resources where they can substantially contribute to the foundation that the black woman has already established. And one of the primary reasons why the focus isn't on the
pause right there
is because
right, yes, but so Dr. Richard Reeves kind of told you what it is. It's for you to overproduce to take care of the women who you're not with and the kids that are not yours. Right? Sherry Shepherd told you what it is, so that you can have the money and the knowledge and the wherewithal and the time and the access so that she can rent a husband from her homegirl who actually is married to you. Sherry Shepherd already told you what it is. Dr. Richard Reeves already told you what it is. The reason why you need kick-ass men, even if the women are not going to follow, is so that when she does need you, you're there. Right? So she can give the middle finger to the collective of men, right? Because somebody is going to save her. Someone is going to help her. Right? As a matter of fact, who was it? Concrete Rose, or which one of the sisters from Breakdown a Woman's Perspective said to BGS, yo, we could act up because, and I'm paraphrasing, we could act up because we know eventually a black man's gonna save us. We know we could act up. And there's been a number of black women and women writ large, but definitely black women, especially on these social media streets, who've said it. We know we could act up because one of these simp ass dudes gonna save us eventually. right? Huh. So so I get what Sarge is saying, but the idea is really to have enough kick-ass black men so I can give the middle finger to 1, 2, 10, 15, 100, because one of them is going to do right by me anyway, even if I did wrong by the entire community. Forget just black men, right? And exactly what Indigo's saying. That's why some of them are so reckless, because someone I'm not a black man. I'm a black woman. Someone's going to do right by me. Even Bowser spoke to this. There were exes that did right by her even when she didn't deserve it. And many of us have been extended the grace. Hopefully, you've been extended grace even when you didn't deserve it, right? But let's call a thing a thing. That's what I said it. Black women want to show their ass because they're mad they're not white women. And black men are supposed to understand and do right by them anyway, right? They're supposed to be able to curse you out and insult you and demean you and denigrate you. And you're supposed to understand because you're not a white man and you didn't make her socio-politically and socio-economically an upper middle class white woman. So you understand as she understands that you're kind of deserving of that type of abuse. I mean, you ain't white and she's not white. And you didn't make her white. So there you go. And you could go ahead and unpause compassion.
Is black women do not want the dynamic of the quote unquote patriarchy to resurface. They do not want a situation where the men are collectively ahead of the women. So why are we having these conversations? Why is that even a talking point if at the end of the day, black women don't really want it? They don't want it and everything that comes with it. They don't want it. They say that they do. I mean, it's a nice defense right here, to bitch about it. And
I don't know if they don't want it, Sarge. They do want it. The part where you said they don't want everything that comes with it, that's right. That's it right there. That's it. It's not that they don't want black men to be kick ass. There's a handful of super, super misandrous women in the black community that's the issue. But it's the power dynamic. It's what comes with that. So the second part, I would argue you're 100% right on. It's not that they don't want these kick ass men. They just don't want those kick ass men to use the power that comes from that. So they're willing to possibly handicap you, right, and align with white racist society to handicap you if need be in their minds so that you don't exercise that, right? But I wouldn't say they don't want those men. They do want those men. They just don't want those men to have any real say so over them. They literally, that's why I have the clip, provide, protect, and shut up. The shut up is not just about shutting up. The shut up is not exercising any of the influence or power or say so last word in the argument that comes with you being the primary breadwinner. We do not dance to his rhythm, right? You dance to her rhythm. And if she missteps, you cover it up. That is your job as a black man, as black men. You dance to her rhythm, regardless if you, and later on, Sarge's, and I'm not going to play the whole thing because we're already at a damn near hour and a half, getting close to it. I think I'm gonna end it out around hour 40. I don't want to keep compassion too long. But later on, Sarge is going to mention I am Aloho, and I am Aloho saying something along the lines of I treat men with no money like I treat men with money, or something along those lines. And I'm like, yes, because you're a black man. You're a black man, so of course she treats black men with money the way she treats black men with no money, because to her, at least, I am Aloho, there is no, you're still black. And unless you're going to win the race war and make her overnight socio-politically a white woman, socio-economically, but definitely the socio-political part of it, upper middle class white woman, then it kind of doesn't matter now, does it? Okay, yeah, you have some money, so okay, yeah, you could buy her a couple of nice things, and she could stunt on other black women, maybe a Latina here and there. But does she get to walk around with her nose in the air with the teacup dog in the store that says no dogs? Pompous and a-hole, does she get to do that? If she doesn't get to do that the way upper middle class and rich and elite white women get to do it, then does it really matter that you have money? Right? Does it really matter? And I'm being a bit hyperbolic here to drive home the point. That's the point. That's the point. Right? Y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Right? And I guess this is a good time to read this. And a split Jim says, a bunch of princess tadpoles. No, toadstools. Jesus Christ, you get it out. Right? But yeah, no, it really is. They do. This is my pushback, Sarge. I think they do want those men. They just don't want those men to have any real power. They don't want you to have any real teeth. Right? And it is a fear of black men with power. It is a fear of men with power writ large, but black men with power. That's Ebony K. Williams. That's why you keep on bringing up the South of France thing. And Ebony K. Williams is telling you she has a problem. I've said this since the Grapevine video where Carl just bust out the whole damn table. For those of us that remember the Grapevine, Carl called it out. And he was calling out, what's the sister that passed away a couple years ago that used to be on the Grapevine, right? Very petite sister, very slim. Right? He called her out. He called her out, and he pretty much called out the whole table. Y'all want to break wolves is essentially what he was saying. Y'all have heard Z say it before. And GC says, 75 people watching, 34 likes. Lego people. Come on, y'all. Right? I said 74. Sorry, 75 people, 34 likes. Right? They want to break wolves. They want you to be a wolf that could never turn on her, and that's not how power works, y'all. We know that as men. Some women, some white women, some of them know it, Latina women, even some black women know it, but not enough. Right? Not enough. Is it Ashley Fines? I thought it was Aisha or something like that. It may not, her name, I don't think her name was Ashley. I think it was Aisha or something like that. And rest in peace to her. Oftentimes she was somewhat more reasonable at the table. She definitely had a way of speaking. She was very demure in her way of speaking, even when I disagreed with her. She was definitely not the woman that you would bark on, or that you would, even when you disagree with her. She was very poised in the way she spoke and the way she comported herself. Right? And rest in peace to her. Even when you disagree with her, she was the epitome of disagreeing agreeably. Right? It's not like she was disagreeing with the other rest of the table half the time. Sometimes she would, but half the times it's just that the way she would speak, it would make you look like a monster if you went at her with a particular type of energy, right? Yeah, exactly. I'm Waffles is saying definitely the most feminine. Yeah, she had that, and she had that in the bag. She definitely had it in the bag, and rest in peace to her, right? Rest in peace to her. So yeah, you could go ahead and unpause compassion.
Yeah, they're not on my level, but you don't really want them on your level. You don't want them on your level. Cap sent me another video of some, sister, and she hit it. She said basically the same thing as Elijah Miller. Like, you all can't be patriarchs. Now, Elijah Miller, she was talking about white men, but this sister, she was talking about black men, even though the video started off being about some white comedian. But anyway, she brought up, black men and brought up how, white men aren't going to, they don't allow us to basically to function as patriarchs. And so therefore, why are we even focused on that? And I'm like, but yet we have conversations about, and I don't want to conflate women, but I'm saying every time the black relationship topic comes up, the women are acting like they're so much better than black men. Black men are just so beneath them. And the only reason they're single is because there's no men on their level. And we never get to have the conversations about, okay, well, what happens when you, I'm not saying that these men are everywhere, but what happens when you come across these men, you know, the men that you went to school with, the men that are doing better than you, what happens? We never get to have that conversation. And again,
right
like
there,
Ashley
compassionate.
Acuna said, you know, the type of men I'm
Um, um, so something that Sarge was speaking on, Leisha Miller. I'm subscribed to her. I watch her stuff. She's an attorney, and she does pretty like her breakdown of certain things. She's on the left, so clearly leftist part. And when I say y'all, just pause. I'm not even going to use that analogy. I'm not, because it really is, you go, you get the information you need, and you leave out all the trash stuff, right? It really is, and that's what. And I clicked the link. Thank you, Trell. I clicked the link already. All right. And it's I already could tell it's funny. I can already tell it's funny. But yeah, no. So the idea, you can't even be patriarchs. So when black women say this, y'all can't even really perform patriarchy. So when black women say this, you're not you're never going to be white men. And Bowser kind of spoke to this once. And let me take that back. Not all you hear, all Z hears, when he hears black women in particular, leftist black women in particular, say this, it's Tiffany Cross all over again. It's, listen, black men, you're never going to really be able to practice manhood the way white men practice manhood. So come in and let's negotiate. That's not what they're really saying. That's not what they're really saying, right? That's the framing, but that's not what they're really saying. What they're really saying is, look, black men, you're never going to be white men. So just get down with our program. We're the ones that they're putting the resources behind. We're the ones that's seen as less of a threat. We're the moral compass, right? So get down with our program. Get into these queer relationships. And when y'all hear queer, I'm not saying same-sex loving. I'm saying these different weird type of relationships where you're the provider, protector, and you shut the hell up. Huh? So when they say, look, you can't even really be a patriarch, and that's for the elite men on the top. Right? That's for the elite men at the top. So seeing that you can't be a real patriarch, why don't you just get down with my program? Exactly, Afro National. We're the backbone. That's what we're the backbone of the black community, right? Queen, Earth, Mother, Goddess, right? We are. So get down with our program. Get down on our program. So when they speak, and this is a black leftist trope of black men not being able, you're not gonna be able to perform masculinity the way white men can. And they don't leave it there. When they say that, they're getting to something, they're alluding to something. Seeing that you can't perform manhood the way white men can, give up on the entire project, which they don't actually mean that part. They still want the provider protector part. And I was really considering titling this, don't y'all steal this title. And I'm probably gonna title something else this in the future. Patriarchy in everything but name. Right? And when I say in everything but name, the very important part to exclude there is the leadership part. It's the last word part. Right? But the provider part of patriarchy, the protector part of patriarchy, the thoughtfulness of patriarchy, right? There's a meme where the dude walks into the store with his lady and he's like, okay, paying attention to this. All right. And he's just acting like the super protector. He's paying attention to the environment. He's looking here, he's looking there, right? They want that. They just don't want you to ever exercise any of that on them, right? So we'll pause right there. Go ahead, Professor.
I'm attracted to, I don't see in corporate America. Yeah, and that's another thing. Because a lot of the black men that would be your counterparts, you're simply not attracted to. You know, which is fine. But I'm saying own that if you're not attracted to them. If you're not attracted to, you know, the Poindexters or the black men that don't have that street edge, y'all need to own that, and y'all don't own that. So again, like people come at me and they're like I remember like folks would be like, SWP, you don't come up with solutions. What is your solutions? There is no solution when the solution is not what people actually want. In other words, people are not being genuine. The women are not being genuine about what they want. What they really want is they want beta male simps that have money and resources that don't assert their dominance or
And
try to
pause
establish patriarchy
right
in the black
there.
community.
That's it right there. Right? That's it right there. And this goes on for a little while, but Sarge is just going to find different ways to kind of say this point right here. This is it right here, Sarge. That's it. You could have ended. You could have ended it there, but he goes on, and there's still some good stuff here. So I suggest y'all continue listening, right? But this is it right here. Simps who do not assert anything that comes with the money, the status, the power, the good looks, the height, whatever it is that you have, or if you have a combination of these things, you don't assert any of it concerning your individual quote unquote girlfriend, situationship, whatever it is with this black woman or black women writ large. Right? Black women want to be able to be the ones they're the ones who took the red pill. Black men are supposed to be blue pilled. Screw it. Some of them took the black pill. Black men are supposed to be blue pilled though. Right? Exactly, Trell. And Trell says, like you Secret Service on presidential protection rotation. Exactly. That level of protection. But you can't tell her, babe, I don't know if you should wear that. That's a little too short. That's a little too tight. That's a little too revealing. Right? You're just supposed to be there, and it's not protection. I use the term protection because that's the one that we readily use. It's excuse me. It's vigilantism. There you go, Z. Jesus Christ, couldn't get it out. They want vigilantes. They want vengeance after or during a situation. Protection, for the most part, is a preventative measure. Right? Huh. So Sarge, he summed it up right here. And Vince is saying it also. They want BANs with deep pockets to fleece. What did Real Talk with Yanni say? What happened to the days of men of few words? What did the darker skin black women say on Daily Wrap Up Crew? What these men what did she say? Excuse me. Protect, provide, and shut up. Couldn't get it out. There you go. Protect, provide, and shut up. Huh? Men of few words, protect, provide, and shut up. The lighter skinned woman on cruise season. If I earn more than you, I will belittle you. Black women are talking. Black women are talking. Huh? So to sum up everything, shout out to Sarge. Yeah, what he said. Right? What Sarge said. And it is frustrating as black men to be told from one side, hey, if you come over here, you don't get to be black. You will be bowing to white men. And on the other side, well, if you come over here, you don't get to be a man. You will be bowing to black women who are bowing to white women who are bowing to white men. Santa Negro, Santa Negro, Santa Negro. Then you wonder why, at least rhetorically, we'll see this election when those numbers come out, why so many young men, young black men, are considering voting for Donald Trump. For some of them, fine. And I don't think it's smart because it's going to blow up in their face, but okay. For some of them, they're saying, you know what? If I gotta drop the black thing and occasionally hear some corny race joke and chuckle at it, I'll take that over being under black women who are under white women who are under white men. Right? Drake. Right? And shout out to Ludacris. I don't know why people do not give Ludacris his props, because at least from what I remember, Ludacris was the first one to say that. Everybody's saying it now, but Ludacris said it first. Right? Talking about Big Sean and talking about Drake. If I remember correctly. Right? So yeah, and and that's where black women come in and call that sexist. Right? That's when they come in and say that's misogynistic, misogynorist. Right? Huh. Exactly. And Ishmael says Luda is a legend. Luda is an underrated battle rapper. Hey, yeah, T.I. had the street stuff behind him. Yeah, but when Luda and T.I. went back and forth for a little while, I don't remember T.I. winning any one of the rounds. Do any of you remember T.I. winning any of one of the rounds? Right? You could say, okay, Stomp, Luda heard T.I.'s verse and Stomp, and then he responded with his verse. Okay, cool. What about everything else? And I listen to more T.I. than I listen to Luda, so this is not even me trying to go in on T.I. Right? I'm not even trying to go in on T.I., but if we're going to be honest, did T.I. win any of the rounds against Ludacris? Right? I'm just saying. Right? So, and Indigo says T.I. ain't effing with Luda's punchlines. I'm saying, you can argue T.I. had a longer career, and all that. Look, but if we're gonna be honest, when they went back and forth, it didn't, And Compassion, thank you very much. Thank you for being up. Thank you for helping me. Thank you very much, bro. Thank you. See, I can't say that because I'm from Dade. An Atlanta dude has to say that. Someone from the ATL has to say it. I can't say it, right? And Mr. Shook to you says, keep it 100. Luda was the king of ATL for a while. Hey, between that transition from like Goody Mob and right, yeah, like there was a window of time where I say Luda was the dude in ATL, but the king, I have to let you know, right? Between that Outcast and like Goody Mob era, right? Like there was a window where I would say Luda was the one. He definitely was at least one of the people that had ATL on his shoulders, right? For a bit of time, right? GC says Fast and Furious checks. Oh yeah, he getting those checks. That Fast and Furious check got to be real as hell, right? What about Snowman? Yeah, Jeezy. Yeah, definitely. Okay, between 05 ish to about 2010, maybe 2011. 2010, maybe 2011, maybe even 2012, but definitely between 2005 to like 2011, 2012, ain't nobody I listened to more than Jeezy. Hey, there wasn't a rapper I listened to more than Jeezy. T.I. was close, Wayne was close, um, Gucci was close, right? But yeah, that was Jeezy. It was Jeezy. It was Jeezy. Easily, right? Yeah, I listened to the game. Yeah, I listened to Cam. Obviously, Cam was probably the second closest. Like this, it was probably Jeezy then Cameron, right? But it was definitely by far not even all the mixtapes, all the albums. Well, I was listening to all the Wayne mixtapes too, but yeah, it was Jeezy, easily, easily, right? Look, you got to talk to Sarge about that. You got to talk to Sarge. I don't even know how I would get in contact with Sarge, right? And Leon says, I'm demanding a Mr. Z and Sarge Willy Pete co-video rant ASAP. Oh, that's a duo for your ass. And Mr. Shook to you says Kanye and Cam, the production. Oh, right. And people hear the way I speak, young, like if the way I dress, the way I act, and people be surprised. I like Cameron. Cameron's one of my favorite rappers, right? And to hell with everybody talking about computers Putin. Y'all know what he meant. and yes, I was rooting for him when with the verses with the Locks, and yes, the Locks swept their ass. Yes, y'all right. The Locks swept Dipset. Yes, they did. What'd that mean? Nothing. Right. But yeah, no, I to Leon's super chat, and like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat, and thank you for the super chat, Leon. I don't know even how to get in contact with Sarge. I would have to email him, and we would have to set something up, and it would probably be on my channel because I do lives and he doesn't. So yeah, yeah. And I'm a student of Sarge. That would be crazy, as a student of Sarge, to be essentially interviewing Sergeant Willy Pete, right? That would be crazy because I've been listening to Sarge since what, 2011, 2010? Something crazy. It's been all 20. It wasn't, I don't even think it was 2012. It had to be, because I was listening to Sarge, like I said, even before he went to battle with Avenue Rants. Even like I was listening to Sarge around, yeah, when Thuctician was making content, like all of these people. Statuesque One, yeah, I was here for all of that. Yeah. So yeah, exactly. You see, in Vegas is saying Sarge is a legend. Heard him back in 09. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm saying 2010 to play it safe. I don't know if I was listening to him in 09. Possibly, but I don't know. I don't remember. What am I saying? I don't know. I was there clearly. Right? Yeah, Gen X days. But so Sarge was on YouTube first, then he went to Gen X. Then he came back to YouTube when I think they turned off the servers. I don't know. And there was some good stuff on there. When whatever happened with the servers or whatever happened with Gen X. But yeah, then he came back to YouTube. Right? So yeah. I've been listening to Sarge for a minute. Like I said, I used to listen to Avenue. I don't even, wherever you are, Avenue Rants. Brother, you need to start making content again. Oh, GC says Gen X. Gen X was a video sharing website. And like a lot of brothers and some sisters went over there and left YouTube for a little while, and I don't know what happened. I guess when they went down or whatever happened with Gen X, some of them came back to YouTube, but a lot of them just stopped making content altogether. Right? Indigo says, I honestly hadn't heard of Sarge Willy Pete until a couple of you cats in the space put me onto him. No, Sarge been out here from way over a decade. It had to be, because like I said, I think I was listening to him since 2010, at least 2010, at least. Right? At least. So yeah, Sarge been putting out stuff for a minute. And it's a lot of like, bro, like Tommy Sotomayor, Jason Black, Professor Black Truth. Like these people go way back on YouTube streets, over a decade easily. right? Easily. So yeah, I remember these people from way back, and I'm mentioning the black people. I'm not even mentioning um other content creators that make different type of content that I've been following on and off for the longest. Tim DeLaGhetto being one of them. Like, I haven't really watched his stuff in about the past 5-6 years. It just, especially like as he got it married and whatnot. But yeah, but the black people, yeah, right. And I'm talking about like even people that don't talk about like manosphere stuff. Tim Black, I was here when he first started making content and when he kind of started dibbling dabbling with the white folks and then fell out with them and then he had to reinvent and come back and yeah. So there's a couple of yeah. I might be a little weird, and I definitely do spend a lot of my day on social media, though, Trill. And Trill says I wasn't worried about these type of conversations until about 2018. Before, like now, I just called you people weirdos who spend all day on social media. I do, right? I do. Mainly YouTube, but Instagram also. Not so much on. I'm not on TikTok yet. I know people. I know the Chinese thing, y'all. The Chinese thing. Z, what I spot on you too? Yeah, but the familiarity of Americans spying on you compared to the Chinese spying on you, yeah, right. There's certain poison pills I just refuse to take. It's all poison, but there's certain poison pills I'm like, yeah, no, right. So yeah, and Leon says TikTok is a brain freak. See, yep. Jay West says I knew of you, Mr. Z, through Tommy back in the day, right? Yeah, I told people I used to call in. I ain't giving my real name though, but yeah, right. I rocked with Tommy, but eventually it just something didn't sit right. So I jumped off the train before I was there with the hair-hatted hooligans and whatever, but the vitriol just kept on ratcheting it up, and like it was taking turns I did not like. You're in your early 20s, your early mid 20s, so it's still clicking, your brain's still clicking, but it's just like, am I seeing what I think I'm seeing, right? And so by the time I think he had gotten to a fender bender with some black woman one time, and he was cursing around and fussing around on camera on the side of the road, and he might have threatened her, and like I had already left before then, but when I saw that, I was like, okay, that's exactly what I'm not. Yeah, I can't do it. I can't do it, bro. I can't. Right. And for me, like I have an issue with black women's behavior. I have an issue with their behavior. I have an issue with the jealousy of white women. I have the issue with taking that off on black men. The lying and not admitting that that's your issue, right? But the whole insult. Like, I mock certain things? Absolutely. Poke fun, yes. But there's certain lines, and I will not be a black man version of the black women like Cynthia G. I just refuse to do it. Right? I just refuse to do it. That's not who I am in real life, so that's not who I'm going to be online. Right? Ah, that's funny. I'm using that. And Waffle says, Trill, we prefer the term social media savants. Hysterical. Right? And Vince says, I listen to Jap with a lot of apprehension. Yeah, right. Yeah. 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 That's look. Oh yeah. So what I was gonna say. Shout out to Sarge for this. Y'all check out the rest of it. It's good listening to. Um, and it's just what we already know. I think Sarge just needed to rant that out. I get it. Um, it's very clear what this is. I think what Sarge is saying. And he might have said this later. I don't recall if I just heard it. Over the next decade or so, I would argue we will see our sons increase that interracial marriage rate number, and it won't be the same for Black women. And I think it's going to go up to about a third of newlywed Black men that's Black men that do get married, marrying out, right? As I said, attractive Black women are attractive. Intelligent Black women are intelligent. Resourceful Black women are resourceful. Funny, I know. Funny Black women are funny. The problem isn't that. The problem is your anger and jealousy towards white women that you didn't take off on Black men because you can't take it off on white men. Black men were not part of the Faustian bargain to make Black women into chocolate dip versions socio-politically of white women. That we weren't part of that bargain. That was a bargain that Black women signed up to with white women and white men, and they screwed y'all in the deal, figuratively speaking and literally speaking, and then left you there. What does that have to do with Black men? GC says, protect your mental health and blood pressure, Z. Skip TikTok, brother. He said, don't even do it. Right? Oh, man. And Vince says, Black men are going to end racism with marriage. No, no, I think it's, something I want to bring up also because Sarge brought up Soraya Brooks later on in the conversation. And y'all have heard me say this before. I think figuratively speaking, but maybe even sometimes literally speaking, non-Black women are going to be willing to throw hands with Black women over Black women's insane disrespect and insulting of Black men. Y'all got way too comfortable talking like this about Black men. And I'm pretty sure it's already happening. We just don't have it captured on camera yet of a Latina or an Asian woman willing to throw hands or a white girl willing to throw hands with a Black woman. I'm not saying they're going to win, but throw hands with a Black woman who's talking real crazy about Black men or a Black man, right? So y'all got Black women, y'all jealousy, y'all rage at non-Black women, but namely white women, and then the way you speak to and about Black men, even in public, especially in public, you think other women are okay with that. All right, right? So I think eventually you're gonna see it on camera. Y'all are gonna see it, and it's gonna put Black women in a very awkward position. We'll say, no pun intended. It's gonna put Black women in a very awkward position, huh? When y'all can no longer do the whole, well, the issue is he don't treat us the way he treats you because you're exotical, right? Huh? It's gonna put me all right. So it's not smart. Like the how loud y'all are, the Cynthia G's of the world, the Lexus Exit of the world, huh? Soraya Brooks calling y'all out. That mixed Asian Black woman, mixed Asian Black, yeah, mixed Asian Black woman calling y'all out. The mixed Asian Black dude calling y'all out. And he's on the LGBTQ train, right? Should have never been talking ish. Right? Shout out to Cat Williams. Right? Huh. Mr. Shukti uses black women these days don't hit as hard as chicks back in the day because they out of shape. Right? It's not look, it I get it, black women, but y'all gonna have to learn to control that jealousy of white women. Y'all are gonna have to learn how to control it. And Telescope says Pearl Davis and Filipina P. Yeah, but as much as that was kind of it's still, if you weren't in the know, you wouldn't know. Right? Pearl Davis was a little bit more in your face about it, but it still wasn't Pearly things, it still wasn't to me it's missing a milestone. It's missing something for you to really call it beefing over black men, right? I think what I'm waiting for is super blatant. You kind of see it with Soraya Brooks, right? But it's not a big enough story yet. Huh? But it really it will get down to it. I'm telling y'all right now, this is how black women are gonna respond. You don't tell us how to regulate our Negroes. Huh? And GC says, who is Soraya Brooks? That's the German, the Arab German lady who is married to a black man and is pretty much telling black women, women like me could come and get black men whenever we want because y'all don't know how to treat them. Essentially, is what she's saying now. Y'all don't know how to treat them. Y'all don't value them, so it's easy for women like me to, yeah, Turkish German, yeah, right. And so in the I'm not in the business of and I'm continuing what Kevin was on. I'm not in the business of non-black women, and that's why y'all see I've mentioned her, but I don't cover anything that she does because I'm not in the business of non-black women speaking on the issues between black men and black women. I get the brothers that cover it and that take that angle, but if I'm gonna talk about black women when they do it with white men, I'm not gonna engage in it also, right? So yeah, you see what I'm saying, GC? And yeah, and GC says, "See, if you give non-blacks an inch, they'll take a mile." And like, you got to be careful with that, right? Yeah, you got to be careful with that, and that's why I'm real careful with this, and that's why the other day y'all heard me say I put out that PSA like, "Hey, y'all stop running to the white dudes to feel sympathetic about the plight of black men," right? Because eventually Chad Roan just becomes Tyrone, right? Eventually. So be careful. And Tariq called out one of them brothers years ago who was chilling with the white dudes over there, and he had a white girlfriend, and he was on some, one of those black people are our own worst enemy type thing. And, Tariq was like, bro, like, you over there with the white dudes, are they okay with you having a white girlfriend? You see what I'm saying? Like, you over there with the white dudes on the race stuff, and you have a whole white girlfriend. You think they're okay with that? It's like, all right, I hear the brothers. I get y'all. There's a reason why there's a black manosphere, huh? If y'all remember the interview with attorney Dennis Sperling when he was interviewing Sandman, and he kind of bought up the swirler divester thing, and Sandman act like he didn't know what the hell attorney Dennis Sperling was talking about. Meanwhile, if y'all remember, Sandman went at Crystal and Karazin years ago. But when attorney Dennis Sperling bring it up, The swirler divestors who put white Pete on a pedestal for the status and the money, all of a sudden, Sandman don't know what the hell Attorney Dennis Sperling is talking about. I'm telling y'all got to be careful with these non-black people, period. When it comes to black men, black women conversations and issues and problems. And oh boy, I could do this forever. Right? Leon says Undead Chronic. Undead Chronic is rare because he calls black women out in their face to their face. Right? Goddamn, Vince, you beat me to it. I was gonna say it on the regs. You beat me to it. Right? What he said, pretty much I get black vagina on the reg. Right? He's one of the few. But either way, you still gotta be careful with that. You still gotta be careful with that. We don't got no allies, black men. Especially non-black men. If they're on what we're on and there is something that will benefit young men, young black boys, but young men collectively, and we gotta ally with them. If Trump puts out something, because it's probably gonna be Trump as president, and we have to ally with them to get this through, a bill pass or something, some type of money on the plate. Yeah. But never think these people are really mean, oh, we're gonna help young men and young boys in general. It's mainly for white folks, and if we could get a few crumbs from that, so be it, right? So yeah. And I'm awful says it's their fault though. There's no such thing as black Twitter or YouTube. Everything posted online is fair game. They chose to post their bigotry online for the world to see. Yeah. Yep. Right. That's funny. And Telescope says, is a peen pedestal a penistal? A peen distal? Oh man, it might be a pistol. I mean, oh God, Z, you're about to say it. I'm gonna say it, right? They both shoot. Right? They both shoot. And they both shoot blanks. Oh, that was too easy. That's too easy. That's too easy. Right? But yeah, no, I just want to continue to caution us with aligning with certain people. You see what happened with Donovan Sharp. You see what happened with Tommy Sotomayor. This happens to the brothers, and they get too comfortable. Right? There's a reason why there's a black manosphere. Right? If y'all recall when Abba was debating whatever her name was, at Ann something on Destiny's channel, and Destiny, he couldn't wrap his mind around, bruh, white dudes. She's comparing black men to white men and deeming black men lacking. And she's trying to do it like she's a certain class, and black men are so just beneath her and they don't have any class or no tact. Right? And he was acting like he really didn't understand what Anne was getting to. Anne is not her full name. I'm shorting it to Anne because I can't remember what her full name was. Right? Huh. Indigo says, shoot, I was just at the range the other night, giggity. Right? Yeah, just cautioning us to be careful. Be careful with the white dudes. I hear Sarge speaking to the white guys about their plight and how if they don't wake up, they're gonna wake up into feudal era 2.0. I hear him. Yeah, that chick. Leon says the light-skinned Canadian mulatto. Yeah, I think that's her. Yeah, yes, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Right? So I just want to, you know, caution Sarge also. I hear you, brother, but from what my understanding of history, the white guys choose white over everything 9.9 times out of 10. 9.999999 times out of 10, right? So just saying. And Waffle says, and that broad was Canadian too. Like, man, you don't even have a dog in the fight, but they kind of do, because Canada, let's say, um, the small hatville, the small hat country over there, you can argue we're the second state of their country, but okay, they're like the 51st state of the Union, and then Britain might be the 52nd state of the Union. And then Canada might be the 53rd state of the Union, and Australia might be the 54th state of the Union. Right? So, yes, Canada is in America, but kind of, sort of, it is. It's a whole different nation. Yeah, but. Right? Kind of, sort of, not really. Right? So, I'm just saying. So, yeah, no, it's just. Yeah, she's Canadian, but she still has a vested interest because it's the image of black women. And she was doing it. And think about it. She's begging white men to come and save black women in this case. Look, these black men don't know what real manhood is. They're inept, they're incapable, they're violent, they don't know how to be real men. They're lesser beings, right? They're not gentlemanly, etc., etc. And that's essentially what she was doing. It's her way of begging white men to come and save her and other black women from the ravages of black men, right? So yeah. GC said Canada is just our special ed cousin. Hysterical. I ain't gonna say all that. Right? And Terrell says Oceania, there we go, has always been at war with East Asia. Right? Telescope says, are Canada, Guam, Puerto Rico, Bahamas really sovereign countries for real, for real? According to the Monroe Doctrine, everything pretty much in the Western Hemisphere is under America's purview. Right? So pretty much everything on this, all of North and South America, all the Caribbean, all of this belongs to America. And not really belongs to America, but really belongs to America. Z, you don't make no sense. I make perfect sense. Right? I'm just saying. Like, it's not American, but it kind of sort of is. And Charles says Guam and Puerto Rico are not sovereign, yet they're territories. Right? Puerto Rico can't afford to be independent, so I had a coworker that spoke to me about this. Puerto Rican descent, clearly. Well, not even Puerto Rican descent. Puerto Rican. And he was speaking about this. Like, when it would come up for a vote, they would vote to stay a territory because they can't afford to go it alone. But they have a nationalistic pride about themselves, but they can't afford to go it alone. So they're kind of in limbo. Right? And Charles says Bahamas falls under Britain, but Britain might as well be a protectorate of America. Might as well be. Right? I'm just saying. Britain might as well. If America is helping you to get across the Atlantic and go to war with Z, could you pronounce it correctly? Argentina, Jesus Christ. There we go. If America is assisting you in that, yeah, You might as well be a protect. Like I said, the 52nd state of the United States. Right? It's the small hats. It's Britain. It's Canada. It's Australia. Right? France, not so much. Yes, but no. Right? Japan, right? But definitely for the English speaking world, oh yeah, definitely. Even though the small hats are not, they're not English speaking like that. But yeah, the small hats, Britain, Canada, Australia, definitely Canada and Britain in the small hats, right? Yeah. So on that note, everyone, we will pause right there. I love peace and chicken grease. I went way, yeah, this was way longer than what I expected it to be. Thank you, Compassionate, for your help as always. Shout out to Compassionate. Um, yeah, he just made this a lot easier, right? It just he just made this a lot. It just was way easier. And to Sarge, I say, first of all, yes, what you were saying, but there's certain nuances, certain like. There's a certain way the women are framing these things, and what I like to do is extract the actual meaning from the words, right? The actual what they really mean from the words, right? And when you actually are holding what they really mean in your hands, it's actually worse than what they're saying, right? It's actually worse than what they're saying. It's insane, right? So, um, yeah, no, they just want protectors and providers that shut up at the end of the day. And as you said correctly, you don't get to assert anything. That's what I am Aloho was getting to when she said, I treat the men with no money like the men with money. Because the men with money, the black men, excuse me, with money, they don't, I would not allow for them to exercise any power with that. And that's perfectly okay. I'm perfectly okay with black women saying that and watch your sons end up more and more increasingly with non-black women. And there you go. The shaming tactics are gone. It's done. You're able to pull that with boomers, some of the older Xers. By the time you start getting to the younger Xers and every generation after that, it's done. It's done. And there you go. So on that note, everyone, we will pause right here. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Y'all have a great, great, great rest of y'all night. Y'all go check out other Black Manosphere content, other non-Manosphere content for the love of God. And Mr. Z out. All right, y'all. Mr. Z out.